Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another workshop by OPM Tools. It is I, Mustafa Shahid, and we have Cohen Powell with us. And today we are deviating from our previous topics that we covered last month, which was all about the AI, Ask AI within the OPM software. And now we are moving towards more about the user journey or the team, basically, that you have within your system. The team could include different roles, such as an email marketing specialist or a social media manager or a salesperson, and so on and so forth. So, when you have multiple people in your team, the one thing that people or account owners or business owners think about is how much access do we have to give them in order for them to do their jobs effectively while safeguarding our interests at the same time, or should they have it all and we just trust them blindly, which again can be helpful, but how much permissions do they actually need? So that is the topic we have for today, which is about OPM tools, roles, permission, and the knowledge base. So basically, what within OPM tools, the two different user types that you can have within a sub account is an admin who has access to everything, or a user who can have minimal access or access related to what their jobs are supposed to be. So the agenda for today is simple. Number one, why these permissions matter and what is the cost of getting it wrong. Secondly, how does the system work? Then every permission category. So what happens when each toggle is on or off? Then we have the agency level settings that roles that exist above the sub account. Then we have the 13 team roles. So who gets what and why? Then we have the knowledge base, that is the compilation of all the information about the system. Then we have the best practices, the ground rules we follow, and the FAQs, if you have any, in the question answer session. So let's start with this. So why does this matter? Why is this important? So the real cost of getting it wrong is the whenever someone starts an account, the easiest thing for them is, instead of having to document what everyone does or what they need permissions for or what they don't need permissions for, what they end up doing is making everyone an admin. And if you do that, it's fine, unless what happens if a sales rep who's leaving a company just exports the full contact database and takes it to your competitor. That is a real scenario. What happens then? What happens if a new hire accidentally deletes a workflow in automation, which was serving up to dozens of different further automations, and that messes up the entire system? What happens if two reps of your or two people in your team are competing for the same lead because there's no assigned only filter? So what happens is, I call someone and then Cohen calls someone, the same person, and that same person is getting two calls from two different reps at different times, and he's getting agitated by it. That can happen, and that usually happens as well. And the list is on and on, but one important one is the financial data. What happens if your financial data, deal values, and client revenue numbers are visible to every person on the team? So what permissions or proper permissions do is, it provides that every team member sees only what they need to do in order to do their job. Then the sensitive data stays with the right people. Mistakes become impossible because they don't have access to it anymore. So it's not like they can still go in and do something. They can't. They won't even see that option. When someone leaves, access is removed instantly, so they can't go in back and make any changes. And audit logs that we have, they track every action, so nothing goes unnoticed. So how does the entire system, the OPM system, work? You have two different roles. The first one is the admin, and the second one is the user. The admin, as it means, has complete unrestricted access to everything. Permission toggles do not apply to admin because every toggle is bypassed. They can see all the contacts, conversations, billings, settings. They can create, edit, and delete any other user as well. And they can view and modify any data regardless of assignment. So who should be the admin? The owners and the system architects who are building up the system, basically. And the rule is never exceed 3 admin users in a single sub account. You can have more, but it's better to identify what their roles are and what their do's and don'ts are in their job description. Or if it's a multi-owner business, then yeah, absolutely, everyone should have the admin access. In terms of the user, a user can have restricted account where every permission toggle takes effect. The interface adapts dynamically, so disabled features don't show an error. They simply don't appear at all. So they can't say, hey, I'm clicking on marketing, but it's not opening. They won't be able to see the marketing tab that we have on the sidebar. Let me show you what we have on the sidebar. So on the sidebar, we have different options over here. If my permission for opportunities and pipelines was turned off, I wouldn't see the opportunities tab over here. So if I can't see it, I can't click on it. It's that simple. So coming back over here, so the user, the tab button or menu item is completely absent from the screen. And think of it this way. The admin sees the entire control room and the user only sees the dashboard they were handled. Oh, they were handed. Now, within the system, we have 12 permission categories. The first one is the contacts, in which the permission is for the full contact database. Then we have conversations, calendar, opportunities, campaigns, social planner, and the other ones you can see on the screen, but we are going to go deeper into that within each. So the permission number one, contacts. The contacts is the heartbeat of the entire CRM. Every lead, client, prospect lives here. All their data lives over here. Every piece of information that you have about them, their first name, last name, phone, email, your niche specific data. For example, if you're in real estate, then their property listing, their valuation. If you're in insurance, then their insurance providers, and so on and so forth. Everything lives over here. So the parent toggle is if you can on it or you can enable it. By enabling it, the user can access the contacts tab, search the database, view the contact records. And if you turn it off, the entire contact section disappears. So what happens? And the second thing is within contacts and other parts as well, you also have an additional checkbox. What that checkbox says is assign data to those people. The people can only see the data which is assigned to them, basically. So what happens if you turn it on? If you enable my permission that I would only be able to see the contacts in which I am connected to them as assigned to those people, I would only be able to see them. So for example, if you have a list of 5,000 people and 1,000 of them have been assigned to me, 1,000 has been assigned to Cohen, then Oren would be, as the admin, he'll be able to see all 5,000, but I would be able to see 1,000 which are assigned to me. Cohen would be able to see 1,000 which are assigned to him, and so on and so forth. Then within this permissions of contacts, you have, if it's enabled for me or for anyone, they can edit or create a contact, they can delete a contact, they can export and import contacts, and they can use bulk actions as well, like mass tagging, bulk add to campaign, bulk export, mass delete. They can do that. So when giving out permissions, you have to think whether should they have access to contacts or not. And yes, we are going to go into the user roles as well, in terms of different job or different parts of what they are supposed to do and what permissions they should have and shouldn't have. So that should provide you some clarity, if not all. Then the second thing that we have is conversations. So conversation is where all the communication lives, all the different channels of communications that you have enabled, be it social media, email, SMS, call recordings, WhatsApp, live chat, everything stays over here. So you have the parent toggle, which you can enable or disable. So if you enable that, the user can access the conversations inbox and see the entire message threads. And if you turn it off, again, that entire tab disappears. Now, if it is enabled, what happens? If it's enabled for me, I can send SMS, I can send messages, whichever channel I want. I can create conversations and delete them. I can call the contacts because all the conversations are in front of me, and I can answer to the live chat, and I can access the internal chat, which is between staff to staff. So for example, if I want to communicate with Cohen, I can use the internal chat. But again, with that access comes a little bit of risk or responsibility as well. I can go in and check out any emails, any SMS, any calls. If the call recording is on, I can listen to any calls with any client as well. So again, you understand what type of permission you're providing. But again, if you have the user assigned, if you have the checkbox turned on, in which the user can only see data, which is assigned, or only contacts which is assigned to that particular user, then yes, I'll be only be able to see the conversations of the contacts which are assigned to me, not the entire list 5,000 people, as I gave you an example before, but only the 1,000 people which are assigned to me, not to other people which it has been assigned to. Then we have the calendar. The calendar is where the appointments and the scheduling system lives, where all the bookings, calls, and events are managed. So if you turn it on, any user can access the calendar tab, view the scheduled appointments. And by that, they'll be able to create appointments, edit appointments, delete appointments as well. They can manage the calendar settings as well, in which they can create new calendars, set availability hours, configuring booking rules, managing team calendars, and so on. But if you turn it off, the option is gone. So for example, if you have like a salesperson on your team that does not need to manage the appointments or create appointments, you don't need to give them the calendar access. Or if you have an email marketing specialist, for example, they don't need the calendar view in order to create any bookings, because their focus is sending or creating emails and sending out emails. Then we have the fourth permission, the opportunities and pipeline. Opportunities and pipeline showcases every process within your system, from every lead that's coming into the system till every lead is either lost or won, or if it's in a nurture stage or any other stage as well. So again, if you turn it on, the user can see all the pipelines, and all the processes and all the opportunities within each pipeline and all the stages. So what that means in granular terms is anyone, in this case, if it's me, I can create opportunities, I can edit opportunities, I can delete opportunities as well. I can move opportunities from one stage to another. So for example, if it's in a new lead, I can drag in and drop it in the, I don't know, follow up, or within the closed stage or the one stage. And then within the pipeline, we also have a further granular section as well, in which you can make sure that the pipeline that you're making, or the pipelines that are made, are view only, so the user can see the pipeline, move their own deals, but they cannot rename, add, or delete stages. You can give them the full control, in which they can add, rename, reorder, and delete the pipeline stages, or you cannot, or you can just prevent them from having any access to it, so the pipeline is completely invisible for them. And again, the admins bypass through all of these, they can see everything. Then we have the fifth permission topic, which is the campaigns or email marketing. Within this, you have the option. So if this option is turned on, the user, in this case I can access the marketing section and view all campaigns. I can create the campaigns, I can edit the campaigns, I can delete campaigns, I can access the email builder and the trigger links and the affiliate manager as well. But if you turn it on, again, it's gone. And we'll show you that if I disable someone, if I'm going to convert Cohen from an admin to a user, and then just remove different permissions, and you would see when Cohen shows a screen, he won't be able to see those. Then we have the social planner. Again, social planner is a tool for scheduling, drafting, and publishing content. If you turn it on, the user will have the full access to schedule the post, view the calendar, manage the queue, publish to all connected platforms, your Facebook, Instagram, Google business profile, TikTok, YouTube, and all the different other options that we have. So what full social planner access includes is viewing and editing the content calendar, creating and scheduling posts for any connected platform, managing the pending, approved, published entire queue, accessing the drafts and approval workflows, and managing connected social account integrations. So social planner is uh, more likely like an all or nothing toggle at the sub account level. There are no further sub permissions within it. So a user either has full access or none. Then we have the reporting, which is the analytics dashboard, performance data, and reporting. If you turn it on, the user will be able to see the entire reporting tab and all the different dashboard widgets. Within that includes call reporting, appointment reporting, Google ads, Facebook ads, agent reporting, so how every agent is performing, and custom dashboards, the ones that you've made, and the event reports as well. Then we have the most crucial I would say permission there is, which is a payments. If you provide a user the access towards a payments tab, they'll be able to see invoices, orders, subscriptions, transactions, and refunds, and more other permissions as well. So that includes products and catalog, so they can create, edit, and delete products, price and tiers, and the product collections. They can create, send, edit, and void invoices and estimates to clients. They can view and manage all customer orders, transactions, subscriptions, and if they can even issue refunds directly from a transaction record. So this, and the note is that they should only be on for finance or billing roles, and even then require manager approval before processing. They can also see the tax settings as well. So yeah, when you're working or you're planning to give someone the payments section to them in order to manage them, just make sure that they understand what they can do, and be sure that you can supervise them or manage them. Plus we have the audit logs that we can see who did what, basically, or when they who did what and when, basically. Then we have the ninth permission, which is the sites tab, that controls the funnels, website, blogs, forms, surveys, chat widget, QR codes, and so on. So if you enable that for someone, they can create and edit pages in the funnels and the websites. They can access the blog manager and write, format, schedule, and publish blog posts. They can create forms, edit existing forms, view the submissions of the forms, and manage the form settings as well. Same goes for survey, same goes for chat widget, and the URL redirects as well. Then we have the strategic system tab, which is the automations and workflow. Automation is something that ties up the entire system together. So if you're providing permission to someone for the automations on workflows, they'll be able to create workflows, edit workflows, publish or unpublish workflows, and delete workflows. And the most important warning in this entire presentation is the workflows are the most powerful and the most dangerous feature in the CRM, because a single workflow which is either deleted or put in draft mode or changed, it can literally break the entire system, because every workflow is connected to a different workflows in most cases. So if you pause one, all the consecutive chain of workflows will stop. So it can cause quite a bit of damage, and you wouldn't know it until something bad happens. So it's not like an alert goes out. So only the system architect and the admin should have the full workflow access. Everyone else, everyone who does not need to get into what the system is doing on the back end, for them, it should be off. Then we have the settings. Again, another crucial one. If someone has access to the settings tab, they can manage users and permissions. So they can create new user accounts, edit existing users, change the permission settings, and delete team members as well. They can manage the custom fields, which are the additional data fields that you can create for your contacts. They can manage the custom values, which is an account-wide uniform values. Then they can manage the integrations, so they can connect and disconnect third-party tools like Facebook, Stripe, QuickBooks, Google, and so on. They can manage the templates, the tags. They can basically just go in, create new tags, or delete existing ones. And if they delete any tags, it can, because tags are connected to workflows in most cases, so deleting a tag can cause something to break within the system. They can manage the pipelines, they can manage the phone numbers. So what they can do is they can go in and purchase new phone numbers, release existing numbers, and configure the calling in SMS settings. So for example, they can turn off the recording, the call recording, or they can enable it as well. Then they have the billing access as well, in which they can view and manage the sub accounts billing information. Finally, the Ask AI permission. So the AI assistant is built directly into OPM tools. It's used for writing, analysis, research, workflow planning, and more. I'm using it right now in front of you. This is what Ask AI is. I was prompting it, I was providing it the information, and it was able to give me a comprehensive layout of the entire presentation. So if you enable the Ask AI access for someone, they'll have full access to the Ask AI assistant, in which they can ask questions, generate content, get help with any platform feature. And since it's AI, It can do probably anything. So it can create images and stuff like that as well. If you remove the access, they won't even know it exists within the system. So now let's move on to something better. Who should have Ask AI access? The system architect, the email marketing specialist, paid ads, sales rep. So basically everyone apart from the finance and billing person, unless they want it. So there's no harm in giving it. Then we have the agency level settings. So within the agency level, we have three agency level roles. We have the top level account holder. There's only one usually. He or she has absolute access to everything within the agency and the sub account level for every sub account within the system. They can control billing, white label settings, the SaaS plans, and the company identity. They cannot be restricted by anyone in any way, and they are the only one who can permanently close or delete the agency account as well. So for over here, it would be Oren Powell at Overpower Marketing. Then we have the agency admin. Agency admin have a similar permissions as the agency owner. They have full access to all agency level settings and sub accounts. They can create, delete, pause sub accounts, but they cannot access the agency owner's personal billing credentials, nor can they delete the agency owner himself. And then you have agency user, in which you can define, or you can basically add one user to multiple sub accounts and provide them access or manage them from the agency settings directly instead of going to sub account by sub account. So for example, if I am handling, let's say, 5 sub accounts, I could have um, the same permissions throughout all 5 sub accounts. But if I have different permissions in different sub accounts, that is when you would go into each sub account and give me permissions differently. Within the agency settings, you have the company profile, the team members, the sub-account locations, billing and wallet, SaaS mode and plans, snapshots, white label settings, agency dashboard and reporting, marketplace, and audit logs, and 2FA, two-factor authentication as well. Now, I hope you have understood a basic, at least, idea of what permissions can do and they cannot do basically, and when should you enable it or disable it. But I went a step further. I tried to understand, if we have different roles, how would that be used over here? So let's start with the first one, the system architect, the role that I love for myself, because our role is about building, maintaining, and optimizing every automation, workflow, funnel, and integration in the system. Every other team member depends on what we build. So this person would need the access for contacts, conversation, calendar, opportunities, campaigns, sites, and so on. But they do not need the permissions for the user management, billing settings, or the ability to process refunds or modify transactions. That's not what they should do. So say if they shouldn't do it, they shouldn't have access to it. So the key rule is only this person publishes the workflows. Everyone else submits a request for that person to go in and make the change. Then we have the email marketing specialist. So if you have an email marketing specialist, his or her job would be to own all outbound email marketing, building campaigns, segment audiences, write sequences, and analyze the performance. They would need access to contacts, otherwise whom will he send out the emails to? Conversations to monitor the replies and deliverability, the campaigns and email builder to build out the emails, obviously, trigger link for embedding different link within the email, reporting, templates, media library, forms. But what they do not need to have access to would be the workflows and the automations. They can just submit the request to the system architect. They shouldn't be able to delete the contacts or export the database, and they don't need the access to calendar, payments, social planner, or any settings beyond the templates. So the key rule is they write the emails and the architect wires the automations. Then we have social media manager, again, which is a very a common role in every agency or in every business. They manage the social media presence across all platforms. So they need to create, schedule, publish content, and respond to the social DMs as well. So they need access to social planner, which is obvious. Conversations, again, where they'll see all the replies coming back in from the DMs. They need media library, where they host all the content. They need the contacts as well to look up at a contact who has engaged, reporting for the social media metrics, and ask AI complete access because they need to create captions, hashtags, content ideas, and platform specific writing as well. What they don't need to do is to have the ability to edit contact records, email campaigns, workflows, payments, calendars, or settings, or have access to any financial or sales data. So basically, all social posting goes through Social Planner inside OPM tools, never from personal accounts. And then the list goes on and on for paid ad specialists, sales rep. And again, you can choose for your own team, but we are just providing you different ideas or different understanding on how you can think about it. And then you can make your decision. So we have sales bound for inbound closer, for outbound power dialer. Power dialer would be the best one to show that, because their main job is to keep calling people. They could be cold, warm, or hot leads. They need access for the contacts, conversations, opportunities, and for Ask AI if they want to generate call scripts or FAQs. But they do not need to have the access for all the contacts. So a hard filter for the assigned data should be on, export or delete contacts, and they don't need access to anything else. So that would include calendar, campaigns, social planner, reporting, payment, or settings, because they need to log a note on every call, even voicemails, but its port should be off permanently. So if the rep leaves, your list stays yours. So they can only see their assigned data. And on that list, you have appointment setters, you have account managers, customer support agent, SEO content specialist, reputation manager, and the finance billing specialist. This is the person who needs the access to the billing or the finance part. Then you have the master. This is the master permission matrix that you can see as an example, or you can create your own. The owner needs to have access to everything. Basically, the system architects can have the viewing and the editing permission of almost everything except for the financial part or the payments. And then everything that I mentioned previously above, all the ones I skipped, you can find them over here. And the assigned one where it says assigned, this is where you would enable the checkbox in which you can assign, in which the person can only view the data which is assigned to them. All right, then we have the knowledge bases. What the knowledge bases contain. Every sub account has a knowledge base that you can find on the left hand side over here, where we have the main knowledge base. And yep, I think, yep, so best practices is important. So number one, when you create a new user, start with zero permissions and add what they need. Don't start with everything and try to remember what to remove. Number two, assigned only is your best friend. So for any role that works a personal lead list or a person client, should only be given access to the show contacts, conversations, and opportunities which are assigned to them only. No exceptions. The third one is export is a security decision, not a feature. So export and contact should be off for every role except the owner and the system architect. Secondly, the workflows should have one owner or one team. If you have like multiple people working on the workflows, which are in communication with each other, so everything stays on the same page, but it should be managed by one particular person or one team. Admin is a privilege, it's not a convenience. Do not assign admin roles to make onboarding easier. So whenever you add another person into the team, you just made them an admin. Don't do that. The 2 minutes that you saved in setting up the permissions is not worth the security risk. So every staff member gets the user role with configured permissions, and if they need more permissions, you can go in, enable that, and even ask them why they need those permissions for. And review permissions whenever the roles change. Never share the logins, and audit logs are always on. So let me show you where the audit logs are and what they do. So on the settings in the left hand sidebar, if you scroll down, you'll find this audit logs over here. And basically this tracks and monitors all system activity, user actions, and data changes from across your account. So if I'm going to select myself from all this, let's see, it shows what I created and what happened. I can select the modules of which module I want to see, or if I want to see, let's say, deleted. Yes, so I deleted my own calendar event on July 31st, or conversations that I deleted. through bulk actions, anything at all. Everything that I do would be shown over here. So yeah, that would be it. The key takeaways would be lost. All right. Any question?
Yeah. So what should you do if one of these people ends up leaving the company?
Hmm. Well, if someone leaves the company, this is what I would suggest to do immediately. Go to settings, my stuff, find the user, delete the user. Number one, remove their access from the system. Then reassign any contacts, conversations, or opportunities from that user to an active team member. If you don't know about it already, about who has been assigned to that person, then before deleting the user, go to the filters in conversations, in contacts, in opportunities, find everyone who that person was assigned to, and either assign it to someone else or just remove the assigning part and then delete them. Change any password for the shared tools that they have access to, for example social media accounts or email providers. And if they were connected to any third party integrations, disconnect and reconnect under a different account.
And what happens to a contact's assigned records whenever that user is deleted?
Well, the contacts, opportunities, and conversations remain in the system. They don't get deleted along with the user. However, the assigned user field becomes blank. So those users on those contacts becomes unassigned. So the easiest way is, if they are already assigned to someone, remove the assigned user or transfer the the process to someone else and then delete the user.
And provide a screen recording, image, or message regarding an issue that you're coming across within the software. Once submitted, this form will go to our support email and let us know the issue that you're coming across, and someone on our support team will be more than happy to help you out. Next up is the support meeting. Support meeting is just our calendar link. So once it loads, it'll load up a calendar with dates and times that you can choose from. Once selected, it will bring up a personal contact information form. Fill out all of that and give a brief message about what the meeting is going to be going over. And then once that has been submitted, it'll go onto our calendar, and someone on our support team will help you then. And then finally is the knowledge base. The knowledge base has a wide variety of articles available to you, going over different topics regarding OPM tools, much like user permissions that Mustafa was going over. If you're just wanting to be a do-it-yourself kind of person and just handle things on your own, or just learn more about the software, this is where you want to go. It'll load in a search bar. And you can use that search bar to look for any type of topics that are relating to the issue or asset that you're wanting to look into as well regarding OPM tools. But yeah, I do want to thank you very much, Mustafa, for that workshop session. Do you mind showing what's going to be the next topic for next week?
Yeah, absolutely. But since you have the screen opened up, can you click on that black circle on the top right next to the call button on the
Yeah.
top right? That is another way that these people can search everything about, reach out to us. And this is a great, easy way to learn everything about the system, or basically even understand, see the news of the new features which are being rolled out into the system. So the next topic is going to be about covering the opportunity board. The opportunity board is something where all your processes and all your opportunities live. Opportunities can be seen as your contacts, or they can be seen as different tasks as well, as we'll show you how we use it for our task management. But yeah, we'll go in detail about that next week on. Wait, no, sorry. I shall take my words back. Next week is going to be about SOPs. That's what we're going to be covering. As in that SOPs, we are going to show you how you can create your own SOPs and how you can make the team follow the SOPs and see who is actually completed the course of the SOP. So when they fail to do something in the future, you can just say to them, hey, you already went through this, you already know this, I have the record of it, so why did that mistake happen? So it's a great way of onboarding new hires, where they have to go through a list of content or a list of SOPs which are already in place, so they know what to do or how it needs to be done. Or if they forget about it, they can still go back in and search for that topic and learn about it once again. So yeah, next week we are going to be going over SOPs.
Well, I do want to thank you all for joining us today, and we hope to see you next week. Okay.
Absolutely. Bye bye.